YDS tutorial. Hello, it's Aaron. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get started, how to get into Adobe Premiere Elements 10. So that is going to include creating a new project, importing your video clips into that project and into the timeline to get rolling, how to add effects and transitions to that video in order to make it look awesome. And also I'm going to basically be giving you a tour of the workspace in Adobe Premiere Elements 10 so that you know your way around the program. So let's get started. First thing you're going to want to do, obviously, open up your start menu or wherever it is and find Adobe Premiere Elements 10. Open her up. Okay, now that is going to take you to this nice welcome screen, and you're going to click on New Project. Simple enough so far, nice big button. And now it's going to be asking you a few things before it lets you just start editing. It's going to be asking you, number one, the name of your project. I'm going to call mine tutorial video. It's going to ask you where you want to save it. I recommend saving it in its own folder. So I'm going to create a new folder wherever I want. I'm going to call it tutorial project. The reason that you want to do that is because it creates a bunch of different files. So it gets a little messy unless you save it in your own folder. The last thing you want to do is make sure that the settings are appropriate for whatever camera you're using. Right now it says DSLR 1080, which is HD at 24 frames per second. That's what we're using. If you want to change that setting, it's very easy. You just click here, choose the camera setting that you're using, click OK, and you're good to go. Ready to go. Click OK. Now here we are in Adobe Premiere Elements 10 with our brand new project. So you see there are three main windows that you should concern yourself with. Up here in the top left is your monitor window, and that is going to be where you preview your movie as you are making it. Here's where you press play and see what it's looking like so far. Up here on the right, this is your tools window, and that's going to be kind of your workbench where you find the files that you're going to put into your project, where you edit them, so add transitions. So here's where you find your files, you edit them, that's where you add effects and transitions, and also where you're going to click to eventually save this as a movie file when you're all done. So let's go back to project. And down here, in the bottom, this is basically it's called a scene line or a timeline. You'll see there's two different views you can switch between, scene line and timeline. The scene line is kind of a simpler, kind of stage one version of the timeline. Simpler, it's you just drag anything you want down there, and then when you want to get into the nitty-gritty editing, that's when you would then go to the timeline. A little bit more complicated. Okay, so now that we know what all three of these areas are, basically, I want you to see that actually we can change the way this looks by just clicking right in between all three of them. So we got that four-way direction, and then we can just click and drag and change the sizes of everything at the same time. So let's say I want the tools one to be bigger, tools window, I go like that. Let's say I want the monitor to be bigger, I go like that. Let's say I want the scene line to be bigger, I go like that. Very simple. Okay, so that's really awesome. Now, here we are in the Project tab of our Tools window. Right now we have nothing in our Project tab. So if we just double click on empty space, that's how we can find our files. Then you locate on your computer your video clips that you want to import, select them all, click open, and it's going to put them into your project, project here. Now, we want to stay organized, right? So I'm going to create a new folder in here. I'm going to call it Scene 1. And I can just drag things that I want into that folder. And now we can toggle between the icon view and the list view. I actually like the list view. I can see what's in here in Scene 1. And that just looks a little bit cleaner to me. So we want to keep that organized. Now I want to drag these two scenes into my scene line. So I just click and drag my clip. There we go. Now I have space for another one. Click and drag. And now I have my first two shots of my movie. Perfect. Now let's say I want to add an effect to this clip. I click on it. That clip. And I click here in the Edit tab. Now we're going to get into the effects. You see we have effects here. So I can just very easily, I'm going to make that a little bigger so I can see, browse through all the effects that I want. Lots of really good ones. Very exciting. Let's say I want to find a blur. I can just type in blur here. I'm going to add a zoom blur by clicking and dragging it onto my file. Now right now that's a little bit too blurry. If I want to customize the blur, I click down here, Edit Effects, and I can customize that blur. Here it is, Zoom Blur, and I just click that little arrow. You can see these parameters here that I can mess with. I just drag this to change the different amount of blur or to change the different amount of blend. You'll see it kind of messes with it. Let's say I think that looks the best. All right, very cool. Then I just click Done. Ready to go. Now let's say I want to add a transition between this clip and this clip, right in between them, because right now nothing much doing. If I just click here in the monitor, right here I can then press play by clicking or by pressing spacebar, and you'll see there's no transition. So what I want to do is add a transition. So I click on transition here, and now here are all my transitions. I think one of the most useful one is dip to black or cross dissolve. Let's try dip to black. If I put it, drag it in between these two, now let's see what it looks like between these two clips by selecting where I want to press play right before the first clip ends, and then it's going to have that nice new transition, so a little bit smoother. Okay, so now let's see what else there is to be done. Let's say I want to get into that nitty-gritty editing I was telling you about. I go to the timeline view, and now here's where if I want to zoom in, I can click over here in this big window, zoom in. Now I can, let's say, trim this clip down like that by clicking and dragging. I could trim this clip if I want, and that's going to totally change. That's how I can edit by trimming. Let's say I want to add a title somewhere, some text. I just click where I want to add it, click this little T for text, and it's going to add this nice text right in the middle, and I can just type what I want. Here we go. This is my title. Here we go. Let's say I want to move it. That's where I move it. Very nice. Okay. And that's pretty much all I have to show you today. If you want to share and you want to save it, you click on that tab and there's lots of options for you there. But that's pretty much it. I hope that you guys learned a bit. Enjoy the rest of your day.